van der Sande close to the front as well for the Visma Lease bike squad. There's a bat. Or a little bit less. Next time to come for the riders. Eduardo Affini on the back, just grabbing a drink. Visma Lease bike, European time trial champion. And there's Tim Merlier, and this I suspect is the back half. Yeah, the front half of the peloton is not quite, is quite a bit smaller, if you'll pardon my maths. Here comes Pedersen. Oh, I mean, a brilliant win and all that, but really, did you have to attack from so far out? It was a folly. Is this really the way to do it? Well, you know what? His teammate Jonathan Milan, we've seen him suffering already and connect with the front part of that peloton, so I think that could have an effect too on the potential of this breakaway lasting it for a whole lot longer. Looks like they're coming back. So Bjerg refuses to submit his defiance of the inevitable is to be admired, and I think that's the way you need to be, isn't it, for this kind of racing. Down towards the back of that group sit a quick step rider. Meanwhile, his namesake, the Decathlon AG Tour, has continued to pile on the coal and has dragged Bjerg away. A couple of Great Danes. And the rest of the breakaway group continue. Peloton did that big effort from Mads Pedersen serve to reconnect? I don't think so. So grabbed a quick and still well to the fore. He's absolutely flying, isn't he? I mean, he must have been so frustrated not to get the win and to not be included. And almost at the same time, Olaf Koy unfortunately hit the ground in a particularly notorious bend, actually. Olaf Koy not involved with the Visma Lease bike squad, but they have considerable firepower, of course. Matteo Jorgensen, of course, he won, and you know, they're fighting a rearguard action last year, weren't they? Following the crash that took out, and well, there was a pretty good response because Teish Benoit got up for fourth, and Matteo Jorgensen won the race. So they can do it certainly very much in there. And he's just getting better and better, isn't he? Going for one. off the front tells you just how much of a role the wind plays around here. It's a remarkable sort of combination of industrial and agricultural. Yesterday and around the rolling bergs and the rolling hills, it's beautiful land. Relatively quiet and peaceful, actually. Mostly arable land. I didn't see much in the way of livestock. I'm sure they're thereabouts. Obvious as those cropland pastures. As we see Mikael Bjerg on a nice side profile shot. Education easy post. Ploughing on to try and make the junction, and they've been given a little bit of rope. Here, a little bit of an opportunity to express themselves. And it's going to be interesting, actually. It's the Madia Borrestrats, the 2.4 kilometre cobbled stretch for Alpecin de Koning, and Neilson Powless, who, as I mentioned, was podium finisher in this race 2 years ago. Tarling's Watts, certainly this one is. Wout van Aert to a little bit of brief respite, finds a few teammates, and then resets. Still 84 to go. Oh, Danish colours worn with pride. New Zealander cruises over the short climbs. He's enjoying it. It's great to see, isn't it? Rasmus Pedersen, Decathlon AG Tour Le Mondial rider. Okay, we did race E3 last Friday, and in 96th in that one. Decent amount of road racing so far this year for the Danish National Road Race Champ. Flags tell you that this is going to be led by It's just a handful of seconds starting this long and challenging, saying it's 1100 meters. No, stats were slightly longer, but suffice it to say, it's really challenging. Dylan van Baarle at the back of the group here has won this race in the past. He won it in 2021, the Dutchman. One of two riders in the Visma bike squad. Sand has been fifth in it in the past. Teish Benoot has no less than 6 top 10s in this race. So plenty of knowledge of the event and knowledge of how to get a power to go with it. You don't wait for anyone, do you? But you can't help thinking that the two Danes up front might benefit from this considerable strength. Peloton, not quite, and that's not a good time for a puncture, is it? Aimé de Gendt. All the people from the Cofidis squad, 7th and E3. Picks up a puncture at just about the worst. Let's get a look at this little bit of shenanigans. I think it's just simply a puncture. Comes to a grinding halt. Front wheel. Little bit of motivation, and that was a very, very impressive run through Maria Borrestraat from the two riders up front, because if anything they've added a few seconds to their and Nielsen Paulus. And this is where your advantage that you have your hard won advantage just comes when it winds and twists its way around the countryside from berg to berg. Coming up, second time up it. That's the next appointment. Mind you, a little way to go. Taco van der Hoorn down at the back of the main peloton after his adventures out front. And he and everyone else. And that whiplash effect, as the riders at the back of the group know. With friends like that, Van den Bosch is up front, but teammate decides to take his leave of the peloton. Tim de Klerk and made about the fact that Mads Pedersen and friends were going with a single chainring on the front of their bike, and they've got a very wide space teeth. And the one up front has pretty impressive 46. I think it's 56.46 is the smallest gear available, being cogs on the rear. Nonetheless, they feel that that's well worth accepting that disadvantage for the advantage of not having to shift for all the extra potential for mechanical malady that can ensue and that we've so often seen. And of course the bikes are under as much pressure in these events, these sprawl today, and they're not getting clogged up with mud. Just as I... Where is it, the full minute? And just saying that again to further clarify, you can tell that everyone's decided it's a food break time once more. A little puff of the cheeks there from Alexander Kristoff. I think visual. Here is headed north. So not in his interest to chase this one down. Meanwhile, Lawrence Retz, the Intermarché Wanty squad. Back towards the back. Winners in the field today, aforementioned Yves Lampart, Matteo Jorgensen and Dylan van Baarle. It began in 1945 as a one-day race, then from 1946 through to 64 it was a two-day stage race,